Hey everyone, welcome back to Unwritten Podcast. Today I have Jenn. Jenn is a nurse, an ER nurse with 16 years of experience, ranging from solo night shifts in small towns to chaotic city trauma centers. In this podcast, she shares her story of falling into nursing, not necessarily by choice, overcoming workplace bullying that literally almost broke her. She also coped with COVID burnout, and we talk about the use of antidepressants. A big key part of this podcast was her trusting her intuition, which she calls her nursing intuition, which is actually backed by research. We also discuss how to handle grief, death, setting boundaries, and her new book all about intuition in medicine. If you've ever wondered what life is like as an ER nurse, or honestly just curious about what it is and what it's like being a full-time nurse, this podcast is for you. If not, it still has a lot of good insights. Honest, intense, and unfiltered. This podcast will give you a true glimpse into the nurse life. I hope you enjoy. See you. Why did you want to become a nurse?
I honestly 100% fell into it. I started out in biology. So I went to university for biology, went to Lakehead University, which is very up north, like super up north in Ontario. And its main things are like forestry and biology. So it's, you're going to biology classes and they're focusing on plants and you're like, well, this sucks. Like, I don't actually care what bark is made out of. And, so for $10,000 Canadian, all I remember out of first year is like phloem and xylem is what actually makes up tree bark. And so, hanging out with a girlfriend and she was in the nursing program and we're going through her textbooks. I'm like, okay, now this is super cool. Like, look at all the weird, gross, like fun stuff. And I'm like, okay, I got to get out of biology. This isn't working. So swapped into nursing and just loved it. Just loved, the aspect of like potentially helping people and making a difference. And, nursing now is very different than 50 years ago, even 20 years ago. It's a much different role where you're advocating, you've got more responsibility, you're doing a lot more. So it really kind of appealed to me. And my first job was in a really small rural hospital. And so there was only one RN for the emerge and one RN for the floor with 2 RPNs. And so RN is a registered nurse, which is up here, it's 4 years of university. RPN is 2 years of college. So you usually work together and kind of balance out. And so there was only one RN for the emerge. And so, you'd spend 12 hours by yourself doing mainly very easy walk-in clinic kind of stuff. But just the pace of the ER and like, okay, and to the next, and to the next, and to the next. And it's like, okay, that's pretty interesting. And then, trying to figure people out, and it's almost like puzzles a little bit. So you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, I like this. So it's been 16 years. Have kind of been all over Ontario nursing in the ERs, and it's been a heck of a ride, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So
I love it.
you enjoy it.
The people can get a little crazy. Sometimes I don't appreciate the people, but I appreciate the work and I like the work.
And you work 12 hours
usually from
shifts,
7
right?
a.m. to 7 p.m. or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. So right now I'm just straight night shifts, just because we don't have daycare for my kids and they're not quite old enough to go to school by themselves. So I work night shift. I come home, put them on the bus, then go to bed.
Very fast paced
It's a
lifestyle.
lot. Some days are better than others. Some days there's only a couple of people kind of coming in, and they're pretty minor things, so you can kind of, treat them and street them and get them out and going pretty quickly. Other times people are really sick, and it takes your whole shift to kind of turn these people around. But usually by the time you leave, they're better than when they first came to see us. So a lot of pride in being able to
Mm.
help. Um, and to watch somebody go from being really really sick and on death's door to feeling better, looking better, just within a 12-hour time frame, it's pretty magical. To be fair, it's pretty interesting.
Why the emergency room? Because isn't there, like, when you become a nurse, you can have like so many
Mm-hmm.
different avenues, right? Like you could emergency, like you could do
Yep.
like mental health, whatever. Why emergency?
Just it really fits with my personality. So we all joke that we're all undiagnosed ADHDers in the ER, because you can have 20 things on the go and kind of keep them straight and keep everything moving, versus usually
Mm,
the ICU are a little bit more type A, a little bit OCD, a little ADHD. Mental health is usually like they're super calm, like whew, phenomenal people. Um, the OR is very type A. Like, there's nobody who will make me cry faster than an OR nurse, because, man, sometimes they're so mean. But like, oh,
oh, really?
they're they have their job and they have their role and they know exactly what they're supposed to do, which is great. It's all for safety, it's all for a good reason. But sometimes, I've only got so many minutes with these people. So the one time we had somebody come in, and the time that they walked in the door to the time that they went to the OR was all of like 2.5 hours, like super super fast. And I called the OR to say,
Mm,
like, hey, just so you know, like, I've gotten them changed into a gown, but I haven't had time to do the pre-op checklist. They only have one IV. I haven't had any time to give them medications, anything like this. So just so you know that this is what's being dropped off on your doorstep. And man, they called back and they like bitched me out so hard. And I was like 8 months pregnant at the time. And I'm just like, I'm just going to walk down there all
oh,
pregnant
damn.
and just cry in front of them. I'm like, I told them I only, like, it was only 2.5 hours, and it seems like a long time, but I've got like 20 other patients in the meantime, right? And they're all in various, you're doing various
Yeah.
things all along the way. So really, 2.5 hours goes very very quickly when you've got, one sick patient plus a bunch of other ones. Like, it takes a lot. And so I was so mad. I was like, you know what, this is like record time to get somebody from walking in the door to the OR, and you guys are still giving me shit. So I'm like, ugh, whatever. I can't even. Like,
So uh, I was reading something about like you
oh
went through
yeah,
bullying,
so
or
hard.
how did you navigate that?
Quick and easy answer was left. um, Oh yeah,
Oh,
like,
left.
so the first instance of bullying was I was just a brand new grad, and for some reason or another, my supervisor just hated my guts, and I don't know what I did to bug them or piss them off, but she did not appreciate me in the slightest, and I don't know why she was so miserable, but every day you go into work, it's like you pick up your little black cloud and you'd go and you do your job, and she was standing over you all the time, just kind of like nitpicking and making comments and little jabs and all these kind of things. And she was also in charge of scheduling, so she'd schedule you a night shift, and then you'd come back for a day shift within like 24 hours. So you'd get off at like 7 in the morning
No,
and
you
then be
can't do
expected
that.
to come in for 7 a.m. the next morning. And we call it a double back, up this way. And that's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to have 24 hours off in between
Yeah.
shifts and this kind of thing. Like, it's all in the contract,
Mhm.
like our union contract.
It messes your
Oh,
sleep up too,
so
like your
bad, like
circadian
so,
rhythm.
so bad. And she'd do
Yeah.
this to me constantly, just straight nights, straight weekends. She'd schedule me a double back all the time, and I'm just like, you're new, so you don't want to say anything because you're new, and you're just like, oh, maybe this is how life in nursing is. And it was 5 years of that before my husband and I finally left to come back down south. And I just
Wait,
5 years.
5 years?
I've never been so close to being so depressed. I should have been medicated. I
What?
absolutely should have been medicated, but you're like, oh, I can power through. It's fine. It's just like,
Yeah, I feel like you were
oh,
just like trucking
and
it through.
they tell you in nursing school, like, oh, nurses eat their young. So you're like, okay, is this an expected behavior? Like, am I expecting this to be happening? Am I expected that this is okay?
Mm,
Like, this is horrific. Like, I don't understand. And
yeah.
so it just, you put up with it because really at the time there weren't any other jobs. Um, and so you're like, well,
Mm.
we're living here. My husband's, EMS supervisor. So he's doing pretty well for himself. And
Oh, he's in
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
medical
So
field
he
too,
was a
or?
paramedic and now he's infection control now. But at the time
Mm,
it was just like, well, there's no sense in moving, and where are we going to go, kind of thing, because my husband we weren't really
yeah.
looking. But it just it got to a point where after like 5 years, and I think we had just gotten married, and
That's still crazy that you dealt with it
like an idiot.
for like, I'm the type of person that, uh, like, I've dealt with some of that in the past as well, and I'm the type of person that just, like, I'll be, like, kinda passive aggressive in the beginning, but I reached that, like, tipping point a
Oh,
lot faster. Like, instead of 5 years, it probably would've took me, like, a year or maybe even,
yeah.
like, a couple months where, because I've had that in the past where you just have, like, it's kinda like
Oh,
hazing slash
because you're in the Navy,
bullying,
right?
and you're like, "Is this right?"
Yeah, so I
I was in
can't
the
even
Navy, yeah, and
imagine.
you have these egotistical, yeah, you have these egotistical leaders where, like, because in the Navy,
Yeah,
it's like a hierarchy. It's like,
same with nursing.
you're this rank, so you have to listen to
Yep.
everybody above you,
Yeah,
and
you
if
have
you
to follow
don't,
chain of command,
then
right?
you can get in trouble.
It's the same
Yeah, chain
thing.
of
So if
command,
you've
yeah.
got issues, you're supposed to go to that. So you're supposed to. So if I had an issue with a coworker, I'm supposed to go to that coworker first. If nothing gets resolved, then I get to go up to my supervisor. If nothing gets resolved
Mhm.
there, then I can go up to like our manager. If nothing gets resolved there, like then you can kind of go up. But we were always told you have to go through chain of command. Like you can't jump straight up to the manager or skip over clinical people if you're supposed to go to those people first. Well, I'm sorry, some of these people could care less about any sort of bullying because when I reported it, the answer that I heard from everybody, oh, that's just her. That's just what she does. Pardon me? So I'm not the first one that's complaining about this for one, and for two, um, like this is continuing and you guys are letting it happen. Like you're joking. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane. So we ended up the one night shift, a bunch of us sat down, and in a town of like 5,000 people, which is like super, super, super small up here, um, we figured that she had
Mm.
chased out like, I think 10 RNs, which, you know, in a town of 5,000, like you really don't have that many nurses to choose from. But she pushed like 10
Oh,
nurses
yeah.
out in like 20 years or so. And that's just the ones that we knew about. Like, so
Did anybody ever figure out, like,
oh,
why
she's
she
just
was doing
miserable.
this, or
Like my
just trying to make other
oh,
people in her misery?
my guesstimation, and again, like I don't know for sure, but this is how I justify her behavior, even though it shouldn't be justified. She had married a much older
Yeah.
gentleman, and so by the time I had met her, her husband had been starting to get very sick. And so, you come to work Monday
Mm.
to Friday, you're nursing all day, and then you're going home and having to nurse all night. And it was a lot for
Uh,
her, I think. And because she's been so miserable for so long, she had nobody to kind of lean on to ask for support.
like, she was,
So
like,
she was just miserable.
It's like she
Oh,
was like
misery loves company.
misery just
Misery loves
incarnate.
company. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So we just that's what I figured was you're just you're
that
miserable
makes
here,
sense.
you're miserable at home. You should have retired like 5 years ago easily, but you didn't. So here we are. And it's just, you know, it's just one of those things where you wish them well because like I don't know what else to do with you. Truly. I
Yeah. All you can do is that, like, try to have some form of compassion, even though they might have like
oh yeah.
did you wrong. Like, I'm not the type of person that, like, if somebody did you wrong, oh, let me stoop to their level and like get revenge. I'm the type of person that's like, no, let me
Yeah.
be better than them and not do the same
Yes.
thing out of
Yeah.
spite or revenge. Like, let
Maybe
me be the
I'm
better
better than
person.
that. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be better than that. So, I mean, I'm
I'm better than you. No,
so,
I'm
and
just
again,
kidding.
like I don't know what I did to her or like whatever, but it was one of those things where that experience, however traumatizing and awful it was, it really kind of laid the groundwork that I would never let that happen to anybody else because nobody deserves that.
Mm,
And I was able to power through, but like, what if I wasn't like, there were moments where there
yeah.
was the thoughts of suicide, and it's just like, wow, this has never happened before. Like, where are these coming from? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it was horrific. And nobody, it's a job. Like, what are you doing that people are getting mentally to this point, but it's a job? Like, are you kidding me? Like,
Mm.
so,
It's like you start to feel like you're
oh,
losing
100%.
control,
I
kind
had
of.
no control. I had no control over my schedule. I had no control over whether or not she'd be there. I'd had no control over what my day looked like. There was only the two spots in the hospital to go. So, like, even if I wanted to change, like, it wasn't like a large hospital where, oh, let me just go to another floor, or maybe it's a bigger hospital system and I can transfer from one hospital to the next. There was nowhere to go. There was nowhere to hide. And you just, you put on your happy little face and, hi, how are you this morning? Meanwhile, you're just like, just do not look at me. I don't want to talk to you. I want nothing to do with you.
So you guys had like when you were working there, you had this like
Oh,
kind of like
huge,
tension.
huge. And it wasn't just me. Like, there were other people who she just, if she didn't like you, she didn't like you. And that was just it. And so it kind of became a joke that when I got put on pretty well straight nights, I'm like, well, at least I don't have to deal with her. Like, that's a bonus. Like, fine by
Uh,
me. She can come in
yeah.
the morning and I can kind of keep my head down and, yeah, good morning to you too. And like, peace out. I'm gone.
And after
5
5 years,
years.
you
So after
finally.
5 years, my husband ended up getting a job down south. And so I was like, oh my God, this is absolutely fantastic. So ended up getting a job in the same hospital system as he did. And I just remember when he called me to like tell me that he got the job and that I could quit, I was just like, oh, buddy. I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. So I put on the exact same outfit that I interviewed in, and I marched my ass
Mm.
into that hospital. And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Because it's a nice white suit and with a little skirt. Everyone's like, "Why are you in heels? Why are you in a skirt? What's happening here?" And I'm like, "Don't worry about me. Just give me a minute. I just got to talk to some people." So, ended up finding my boss, and as much as I want to just like lay him out, I said, "You know what? Thank you very much for all the experience here. It's been interesting. No matter what, it was my start in emergency medicine. I'm continuing in emergency medicine, so I appreciate that. But just so you know, this is my 2 weeks notice." And oh yeah, and he was like super nice about it. I'm like, oh, you're so fake, I can't even. And so just like whatever, got out of that meeting, and I'm like, where is she? And I'm looking at everybody, I'm like, where is she, where is she? And she comes out of her office. I'm like, oh hey, can I talk to you for a second? She's like, oh, I know you quit, bye. I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh god, that feels so good. And in a last act of her having all the control, she ended up cutting all but one of my last shifts. So instead of giving them 2 weeks notice, I only
Mm.
ended up working one more shift after that and then getting out of there. So
Oh,
I'm just
damn.
like, I laugh because I'm like, oh, you think you're hurting me by taking away my last shifts? I don't think so. See ya. God.
So, what would have happened if, like, how long do you think you would have put up with it if your husband didn't get a new
We'd been in
job?
talks for months about like this can't like I'm so
Mm,
done. I
like, I
can't do
can't
this
keep this
anymore. I
up.
miss my family because my family's down south. I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I can't
Mm,
do this anymore. Like, could you please look for work down south? And so he ended up, he couldn't find any work in EMS, but he was able to find work as an infection control practitioner, which actually paid better. And it was still Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So I'm like, man, I
mm.
think you lucked out in this, but ended up going to a new hospital that was actually a stroke center. And like you couldn't people could have vomited on me for like a month straight and you couldn't wipe that smile off my face because I was just so happy. I'm like, you guys don't even know how awesome this job is. Like, I don't even care about people. Like, they're
Yeah.
just, nobody can bring me down. And thankfully, the staff were so phenomenal. And my bosses through the years had been so awesome. And so it was just like, it was just such a nice change from what I'd started with. And I'm like, oh, this is how nursing is supposed to be. Oh, now I get it. Okay. And so all of a sudden, now you go from, up north where you'd work the emerge and maybe not one person would come in and you just sit there for 12 hours to a
Mm.
very, very busy spot where you're seeing anywhere from like 80 to 100 people in a day. So it was such a nice change of pace, and the area was beautiful, and I got to see my family more and all this kind of stuff. So it was such a nice change, and it was just the best thing ever.
No, I mean, honestly, like, the people you work with can make a huge impact on your,
Oh,
like,
it's
well-being.
everything. It's absolutely everything.
Mm. That's why it's, like, so important. I always tell people, uh, yeah, you need to be stable and stuff, but, like, take your time, try whenever
Yeah.
you're job searching, like, and just try to feel the vibe of whoever
Huge.
you're working for.
My
So,
most favorite question when interviewing was so the person that I could be taking their place, why did they leave? And sometimes people will squirm and just be like, well, they were moving, and I'm like, yeah, okay,
uh,
I got it. I'm like, and how many vacancies have you had in the last 6 months? Several. Oh, for a small staff. Ooh,
yeah,
that does
yeah.
not bode well for you, my friend.
It's like, job
Oh,
hunting red
huge.
flags.
We're a family. Biggest flag ever. No, it's not family. It's a
Hmm.
job. Sorry. I don't care if it's nursing or not. We're a family is really just code for we're going to guilt you into coming in when you don't want to because we're short staffed and we can't keep staff. We don't know why we can't keep staff. But we're going to guilt you in the meantime.
Mm,
Oh gosh, they're so short. Like, don't you want to come in? Like, no, sorry, bye. It's taken years to finally, if I do answer the phone, because of course it comes up like sick line, and if I choose to answer the phone, they'll say, oh, hey, do you want to come in? No, thanks. And it's just leaving it at that. They don't need an excuse. They don't need any details. They've got other people to call. You just say,
uh,
no, no, thanks. And
yeah.
then, okay. have a good day, bye, and click. And it's just, you know, you start to figure out like what your hourly worth is and go like, let me
Yeah.
let me read the union contract. Let me see where I can work smart and not hard. So, oh, they're short. So if me being part-time, if I work every single weekend, it's time and a half. So as soon as I can set
Mm,
myself up, if I pick up every alternate weekend and then they call you in, you're like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. But just, you know, this weekend is time and a half, then it knocks next weekend into time and a half too. Oh yeah, 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 not a problem. We're short staffed. Perfect. And then you pick up the next weekend and that's time and a half, but then it knocks the next weekend into time and a half. And you just go, perfect.
mm,
Yeah, I'm happy to come in, but I'm not going to work like a dog for nothing. I'm past that area. I'm too old for that
yeah.
at this point.
No, for real. Like that's something I see like today. A lot of people, you know, it's like you work so hard, but it's like
For
for
who?
what?
Are you working for you or are you working for somebody else?
Yeah.
Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things where it's taken me years to finally go like, okay, like I don't need to work like a crazy person. Um, because my kids are home and that actually without any daycare now, it forces me to like, okay, well, I need to make sure that I have enough time off and that I'm getting my sleep, and sleep has been such a huge issue, that it's my kids, you know,
Uh,
they joke, they're like, oh, can we pay the tax before you go to sleep? So the paying the tax is just like snuggles, for like a minute or two before I go to
uh,
bed. So they'll come up and my son will go, okay, mom, can I pay tax? I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I'll snuggle him into the bed and the bed's all warm and we kind of like cuddle for a bit. And then he's like, okay,
that's
bye, mom. And I'm
cute.
like, okay, bye. And then my daughter's like, I'm coming to pay taxes. I'm like, okay, come on in. And so sure enough, you know, it gives them an opportunity to like connect with me before I go to bed. And it's also a good time to remind them, please keep your voices down. Mom can sleep through just about anything, but like you guys
Yeah.
screaming at the top of your lungs is not something I can sleep through. Oh, please. Yeah,
Oh,
I've
you
got
have
two.
two?
So it's just they're 8 and
How
10
old are they?
now. So they're so close to being
Oh,
super
okay.
independent, but they're just not there yet. So close.
Yeah, mine are about to be 7.
Twins? Oh my
Mm,
god. Good
yeah.
on ya. Two
Yeah.
under two was bad enough, but I can't even imagine anybody who's got multiples because man, you probably just go nuts for the first like 4 or 5 years. Like I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's because they like feed
Oh,
off of each
for
other's
sure.
energy. Like whenever they're
Hmm.
like separated or like one parent takes them and then I have them, they're completely
Yeah.
chilled out. It's only when they're like together where it's
Oh,
just like,
you know, one starts going nuts, and then you're just like, leave your brother alone, and then they just kind of ping
mm,
pong, and it's like, can you not? And so I've told them before, I'm like, do I have to separate you? Because I
yeah.
100% will. One of you go upstairs,
Oh yeah,
like one of you stay
I
downstairs.
always that's like
Oh,
every day
that's enough.
separate, like y'all need to separate.
Let it.
It's like how do y'all like yeah, it's like how do y'all like it's like you always want to be together, but then when you're together, you
Oh,
end up fighting or bickering, and then you need to separate. But then that's
yes.
like their punishment. But then they want to come back and then just fight again. It's
Oh,
like
yeah. I
what?
don't know if you've got siblings, but it's the same thing. Like me and my brother and my sister fought constantly
Oh yeah,
until
I
we
do.
all grew up. And now, like, you take me and my sister, and
Mm,
it takes all of 2 minutes before all of a sudden we're laughing maniacally at absolutely nothing. And we just like get each other going. And it's just like, okay, well,
mm.
now what? Like,
Well, my family's always been kind of what is it called? Like
oh, dude, we're
dysfunctional.
all dysfunctional.
But like in a kind of a bad way though, where it's like one of my siblings will have a falling out and they won't talk to each other
Mm.
for months or even like years. Like one time it was like years where it was like, man, like
It's like,
like life is short. Like get over whatever you were
Seriously.
holding a grudge about or
Makes you
something.
wonder, like,
You
what was
know,
so important that you're not talking to your sibling for, like, a year or more? Yeah,
or maybe you
exactly.
forget.
And
Yeah,
then
and
you're
then you're
just
like,
and then
well,
you're probably just too
like it's been so
hard-headed to
long.
actually, like, because somebody's gotta say it first, right? Like, "Okay, I'm sorry, like, that was stupid."
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah,
but it takes
yeah. It
2.
takes two. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it's family is fun.
so have you experienced like
Oh,
burnout and like how have you dealt with burnout
yeah,
in your
so
career?
working through COVID sucked. The absolute worst it absolutely could. In the beginning, when everything shut down, we actually had attorneys or lawyers who were coming forward to be like, "Hey, we'll do your wills for free." I'm like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die!" Like, holy shit. Okay, I'm like, thankfully our wills are already teed up and everybody's good. But I'm like, okay, this is really creepy that these people are coming forward to do our wills for us.
Like
It's like, oh,
expecting
so I'm
something to
expected to
happen.
die.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, so doing that, and then again, daycare was shut down. So my kids were 4 and 5 at the time, like at the time everything started.
Mm,
And so I would work straight nights. I would work all night. I was lucky if I got a sleep break during the night, like maybe 2, maybe sometimes 3 hours. And then I'd be up all day with the kids. And then I'd be up all night. And then I'd be up all day. And then I'd be up all night. Like it just, I was absolutely wrecked. I shouldn't have been nursing. I was out of my mind. And then tack on top of that, depression and anxiety and the worry about like, am I going to be the one to make my kids sick? Am I going to be the one to make my parents sick?
yeah.
Like, am I going to get sick? And so we all just kind of trudged through, and so nobody picked up overtime. It was all everybody just showed up for your shifts. There weren't any sick calls because we all were saving our sick time because we didn't know if we were going to end up on a ventilator for months to weeks to ever. And so we all were saving our
Mm,
sick time. And so, we just worked through it and ended up after probably in about August, June, July, August, I was just out of my mind. So ended up talking to a therapist, finally getting on antidepressants. And again, antidepressants take up to 6 weeks to finally kick in. And that's if it's a good match for your body. So, thankfully,
mm,
we tried Prozac. Prozac worked for me, thank God. It kicked in when it did. And it just kind of got to the fact of like, I can't do this anymore. And so I ended up transferring out of the ER into PACU. So that's the recovery room. So after you have surgery, you go to the recovery room for about an hour or two. They wake you up from sedation, and then you go over to back to day surgery to get ready to go home, or you go back up to your hospital room. And it was one of
oh
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
most protected units because everybody had to have a COVID swab beforehand. So you knew if somebody was positive or negative, like no matter what, you knew exactly that, you were at risk or you weren't. So it was great that way because the ER, people just walk in and everybody's sick. So you have no idea if they've actually got COVID or maybe they've just got pneumonia or they've got something else. But everybody's getting swabbed, and it took like 2 days at that time to get the swabs back when everything first started. So it was just like all this time of like, okay,
Mm,
well, I was exposed to like 4 or 5 people who could have been COVID, and I don't know. So you hoped that you weren't getting sick, and of course my kids were 4 and 5, so they want to be all over you all the time. And I'm just like, oh, I really hope I don't get sick. Like I hope I don't get sick. And then I hope I don't make them
mm,
sick because my son's got asthma quite badly. So it it would have been really, really dicey for him had he got it at that time. And so, changed to PACU. It was a great change. The hours were so flexible that I was able to, once the daycares finally opened up again, I was able to drop my kids off. I was working day shifts, so I actually
mm,
was getting sleep. It was a phenomenal, like I finally was kind of getting back to back to baseline a little bit, but it took like a good 6 to 9 months to come out of that really dark hole, because it was nothing that I ever experienced before, and I hope to God that I never experience again.
I mean, you weren't
No,
alone. Like I was like that's one thing that keeps me sane during times like that where it's like I can't be the only one
no,
in the world that
no.
feels like this right now. So like me just telling myself that helps me keep
Yeah.
my sanity.
And it
But
made you super
yeah.
compassionate very quickly to how
Mm.
everybody was handling things, right? So, we went from
Mhm.
seeing, how many did we see? Usually we saw like about 50 to 60 people in the ER in a day where I was. It dropped right down to like 10 to 15 people a day. So all of a sudden, like, we had beds,
Mm.
people weren't coming in because they were petrified to come into the ER because, there could have been COVID in the ER. And so
Oh,
when
yeah.
people finally did come in, they were so much sicker than what we were used to seeing. So all of a sudden, all these people who should have been coming in a few days ago, a week ago, finally get sick enough, like so sick that they finally come in. And
Oh.
it is so much work to like get them feeling better and get them on the right track. And it took so many resources per person compared to what we normally were seeing. So it was a huge culture shock. And then everybody's like, "Oh, the nurses! Oh, you're heroes!" And you're like, "Pardon me? Like, aren't you guys normally like yelling and screaming and hitting me? Like, calling me every name in the
Oh,
book and every language available? Like, oh,
really?
the I normally describe working the ER as being in an abusive relationship with the public, because man, the things
Mm.
that have been said to me over the years, like, I still can't believe it sometimes. And the fact that I haven't actually been hit um is probably only because I'm very good at kind of feeling people out before they hit. So I've got coworkers who, personality wise, they're quite strong personalities. And when somebody's kind of gearing up and getting going, that you don't get in their face, you back off. And so these people
Oh,
unfortunately
yeah.
would get in people's faces, and they were getting hit left, right, and center. And I'm like, I've worked the ER for 16 years, and there was only one time that I almost got kicked in the face, and to the point where my glasses flew off. But the kid was having a seizure. So, that was no fault of his. That wasn't an
Oh,
intentional kind of thing.
yeah.
It just because the doc let go of the leg, and the leg just kind of come up and winged off my glasses. And I'm like, oh man, that was close.
What is it though? Like, what is it about the ER that makes people like? Because I've been to the ER a couple times, and I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
wait your turn. Um, Sometimes there's a lot of people there, but like, what is it that makes like they're just
Yeah.
frustrated or like
So
what?
you take frustration, you mix in pain, you mix in not knowing what's happening, and then you make people wait. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So people are coming into the ER because they feel like they're having an emergency. I know that you're not having an emergency, so I look callous when I said, "Oh, no, 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 like, you can just sit." And they look at you like, "What are you talking about? Like, I'm dying." And I'm like, "Actually, I can promise you, you're probably not. But here's some Tylenol, here's some Advil. We'll do some blood work. We'll get something going while we wait for a room to open up. So at least you can kind of have a little bit of relief in the meantime. And by the time the doc sees you, we actually have a couple of answers probably for you." But
Mm.
it's very much personality dependent. It's very much situational. And you can empathize to a point when people are scared and they don't know what's happening, and they might lose a loved one. Or they feel like they've just, this is the worst pain they've ever felt in their life, and so they don't know what to do with it, and it scares them. And so it's the fear a lot of times that ends up pushing people to say and do things that they may not do otherwise. And so, you know, sometimes you can empathize with it. You're like, okay, I understand that you're super stressed out. I understand that, you don't know what's going on. So let me fill you in as to what I know right now. Let me tell you kind of what's going to happen in the next hour or two. Let me tell you what I think may be happening. You know, and a lot of times I'll phrase it like, because if it's the families that, or the visitors that are the ones causing the issues, I'll phrase it like, okay, well, if this was my dad, or if this was my mom, or if this was my kid, I could absolutely
Mm.
understand why you're so freaked out. But I need you to understand that that behavior is not acceptable, and it's trying to kind of redirect people a little bit without being a super bitch about it.
Mhm.
And then other times there are people who are just looking to row, and you're just like, oh, like,
Poke the bear.
please do not. Like, I pride myself on being pretty good with people who are pretty upset. Um, the other day, a family
Mm.
member freaked out on me for about a good 20 minutes. And I didn't snap. And she said she was a nurse, which of course you're just like, well, if you're a nurse, you understand like yelling at me is not going to do any good.
Yeah.
And granted, she was really good about it. She's like, I understand that it's you getting this, and I understand it's not your personal fault, but I'm just so upset and I don't know what's happening. And we haven't seen the doctor. And I'm like, okay, like, thank you for that. But, here's what I'm seeing, and here's what we're doing. And that kind of thing. So it took a lot of time and a lot of energy to kind of bring her down a bit to the point. And she was also sleep deprived. So she,
Oh,
oh,
I kind of lost you there
sorry, it
for a
says
second.
network is struggling. I don't know why the network's struggling. But she was also sleep deprived, right? So she's obviously not running on all four
Oh, yeah.
cylinders, and you're just like, okay, I need you to go home for at least a nap. Um, your mom's still here. Your dad, I'm watching your dad. He's literally in front of me. He's the sickest one in the room, so my attention's on him. So I need you to go to I need you to go to bed. Well, I
Just
just
go
need you
over
to
there.
go. I just need
Just kidding.
you to go, because you're kind of like riling up everybody
Just get
else.
out of
Well,
my
and they're
face.
riling
No,
up the
I'm
other
just kidding.
patients and the other family members. Mind you, the one
Oh,
right next
yeah.
to them, the family member was like, I understand you're having a really hard time. And she's like, I really appreciate you being here. I'm like, thank you. Like, thank you for understanding. However, because I took all that time with that family member, by the time they came back at like 11 at night, she'd showered, she'd had a rest, she looked like a completely different person. She brought Apollo chocolates. So she brought me a lovely little bag with, like, I still have them, like Lindor Lindt chocolates. So I'm just like, thanks, that's really nice. I wish we didn't need the Apollo chocolates in the first place. I wish, it kind of wrecked my night for you to like
Yeah.
yell at me for 20 minutes the second I get started. But when, I'd been talking with the mom, we'd gotten the dad to stand, which he'd been in bed for 2 days. So we were able to stand him up. We were able to let him go to the bathroom. He settled a lot better after being able to go to the bathroom. And so by the time the daughter came back, she's like, oh, mom tells me that you're outstanding and that we are both okay going and going to bed like at my house tonight. And she's like, obviously call us if anything changes. I'm like,
Mm.
absolutely, I would absolutely call you. But no, like, please go and relax and go have some time away and sleep. And we'll see how he's doing tonight. And so he kind of turned a corner. He ended up doing really quite well through the night. So I saw them come back in the next morning, and I was like, no, I'm done. It was my third night shift. I was like, I'm done. I gotta go home.
Yeah. Sleep is so
It's
important.
I
Like,
had no idea.
I know on days when I'm
I had
sleep
no idea
deprived,
how bad it
yeah, it's
was and
just
how badly it contributed to burnout and depression until
everything. Everything,
it
yeah.
was unreal. And like, I was super snappy and I was yelling at my kids, and I was like super unhappy at work and snapping at people at
Mhm.
work, which I wouldn't normally. It wasn't a big
Yeah,
deal.
you get it's
Yeah.
like sleep deprived state where it's just
No,
like,
and
it's not
you can
good.
survive on caffeine for a little bit, but only so
Only so much,
much.
then you need sleep, yeah. Then you
Yeah.
actually need sleep, yeah. Um, what would be one thing that you would change, like, if you had the power to make everything run smoother in the field that you're in, what would be one thing that you do?
I wish we could educate the public about what a true emergency is, and um,
Mm,
and not that we're not there to support you during something that isn't an emergency, but um, when I'm literally pumping on somebody's chest because their heart stopped beating, and you poke your head into the room and be like, we asked for a blanket 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, A, get out, B, get out, and then C, like, I will deal with you when I have time. I'm like, I'm literally trying to save a life here, and you're concerned about a warm blanket. Like, sometimes
mm,
people don't understand that you have to be a little bit more aware of what's going on in the ER than just you. And the general public has a very hard
yeah,
time looking beyond themselves to the needs of everybody around them. And even if people can just be like
yeah, yeah,
1% more aware of just generally what's going on around them, because like really you're sitting there for 3, 6, 9, 12 hours. I know you can hear everything that's going on. I know that the lady over here is not doing so well, and the man over here is having a heart attack, and like this one over here, like
yeah,
I know you can hear everything.
yeah. The ER
So
isn't fun.
why can't you understand that? No, we're a little busy right now. It's not to say that you're not needing help. It's just right now somebody's needs are trumping yours. And I'm sorry about that, but that's,
Yeah,
it's, we triage people for a reason, right? Like, so the sickest get seen first. Like, it's not, oh, I came in here before them. It's like, no, 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 no. This isn't the deli counter.
what's
Yeah, this
the
isn't the deli
priority?
counter. I know
Yeah,
that you like picked a number when you first started, but that number has no bearing after you've been triaged. I'm really sorry, but
yeah.
it's been going on for weeks and you haven't been able to see your family doc. Your mismanagement of time doesn't constitute my emergency. Sorry.
Do y'all have like
Oh yeah,
signs or
signs
anything
don't
that
do anything.
show
We've
that?
also
Like,
got signs saying not to like hit staff or yell at staff, and there's no, it's a zero tolerance
oh,
for harassment kind of thing. We've got the signs. Signs don't mean anything unless somebody's
mm,
actually enforcing the signs, which nobody is.
damn, you gotta put your foot down.
Sometimes I get a little
No,
snippy.
I'm just kidding.
It's I don't want to be snippy, but like, it takes all of your restraint to just be like, sir, yelling at me is not going to change the outcome. If you do not behave, I can have you forcibly removed by both security and I can call the police. So I need you to ask yourself, if you did this to a McDonald's employee, would you be arrested? Because same thing. If you're doing it to me and you're doing the same thing to a McDonald's employee, but the one that you're doing to the McDonald's employee, you're getting fired or you're getting arrested, you know,
Kicked
please
out,
understand
yeah.
that I am just a person. I am somebody's daughter. I am somebody's mother. I am somebody's sister. I'm somebody's aunt. You know, I'm just a person. I'm not a hero. I'm just a person.
Yeah. So you said you didn't know about like
No,
corruption and stuff.
I think
I mean, I'm not like 100% on it, but I know like Big Pharma is like $1 trillion company and they profit on uh basically people not healing. They profit on people temporarily healing. Like what's your take
I
on
don't
that?
think you're gonna like my take on that.
That's like the that's the whole like corruption in
So
my eyes. It's like there's good about it
I
because you're like, oh,
I can
you're creating
understand
like
how people who aren't working in the medical field can believe things, such as like there's corruption and big pharma and all that. Do I disagree with big pharma charging an arm and a leg for insulin for type 1 diabetics? Absolutely, I do. It's absolutely unconstitutional. It shouldn't be. You require this drug that you normally would make if you weren't a type 1 diabetic, but you need it to live. So I don't understand why
mm,
that's like it pisses me off that that's so expensive for these poor people who it, through no fault of their own.
well, I feel like everything, like even the normal like it probably costs them pennies
Yeah,
to make like a normal drug, but they 100x that. pill that costs
and
pennies.
and it's upsetting, right? Especially for people who are, just working to live, and they have to choose between, am I going to buy my medications, or am I going to buy food, or am I going to keep the lights on in my house?
Mm,
Like, it's absolutely upsetting that way. There are multiple programs through a lot of the drug companies, to help with subsidies, that your physicians can do
mm,
referrals to help you, get into programs to help you afford your medications. Um, so yeah, like that, it sucks that you have to jump through all these hoops just to be able to afford your medications. Absolutely. It's awful. To be fair, I don't understand, or I don't know how much it costs for like clinical trials, for the research, for the application process to go through at the FDA, all these things. Like, I don't know the back end for how much the back end numbers cost to physically make the medication. Again, yeah, it could be pennies, but how much have they invested up into that point? To play devil's advocate, to play
I
devil's
just
advocate.
think well, I just think the medical industry shouldn't be a
Oh,
profiting business. I think it should be, like, just something for the
come
people.
on up to
Like,
Canada,
but it's, profiting
bud. Free healthcare.
what Yeah, that's something
Ooh,
America
that's a
doesn't have.
hard sell. I don't think I
That's, like, the one thing that I always tell, like, if we pay taxes, like, they should that's where our
yeah,
taxes should go because my sister had, like she had a uh, death disease
yeah,
scare infection. She had, like, a
yep.
tooth infection, and it spread,
Ooh,
and she was on her, deathbed, and, uh, like, after the fact, the doctor said she had, like, a 5% chance of living, and she survived, so it was,
whoa.
like, a miracle, but afterwards, like, 100K of
And
medical
to be fair, like,
debt.
I hear about, people claiming bankruptcy because of medical bills, and,
Mhm.
purposefully not going to the ER because of what it might cost them. And it
Yep.
it is just something that completely boggles my mind, because again, on the Canadian end, we're very thankful to have the free medical care. Does Is it perfect?
Damn, I gotta get
Is it
a
perfect?
Canadian.
Absolutely not. Does it suck? Sometimes it absolutely
Yeah.
sucks. You're waiting anywhere for a year to a year and a half to get your knee replaced. Non-emergent
Mm,
surgeries. Yeah, you're going to be waiting to get specialist consults. You're waiting months, sometimes a year. So it's not perfect by any means, shape, or form. But to have that knowledge where I know that if I needed it, there is an ICU bed somewhere for me. And I if I was to walk out of there, I would walk out,
yeah.
bill free kind of thing.
Like, I
I
wouldn't go
my
bankrupt
whole my
just
whole
trying to
life
get a
wouldn't
checkup.
be
Yeah.
upended because of a medical concern. Like, it's shocking to me. It's absolutely shocking. And I feel so awful every time, you're on Facebook, and you see these people who are like, we've had to sell the house, but we were underwater, and we couldn't, but we had to sell the house because of the medical bills, and this, that, and the other. And you're just like, these poor people. Like, I can't even. It's so upsetting. And it's bad enough to have to go through a medical illness or a medical emergency and worrying about just getting better,
Mhm.
let alone
Is
the
that
cost of it.
yeah.
Like, that's got to put your
Then you
oh
have the anxiety of the
it'll put your
cost,
cortisol
yeah.
through the roof, and then you're not going to heal. Like, no wonder everybody's so sick. Like, it's
Oh,
unreal.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's ups and there's downs. There's the amount of taxes we pay is significantly higher than what you guys are paying. But I mean, I would do that every single
Mm.
day to be able to
I mean, we don't even really
you
see
know
it like that. I don't think we I mean, just taxes in general, like, it'll
yeah,
come out of your paycheck, and you don't, like, truly, like, see the nickels and dimes that
yeah.
come out every paycheck.
You never look at like
Um,
the the tax portion and get super upset, because I feel like that's just a Canadian rite of passage with every payday. It's just like, oh, how much to the government? Oh,
Oh,
come
you
on.
guys do?
And like you get super mad and then you walk off.
I mean, I used to when I was in the military, but now I don't. I just see a
Hey,
paycheck come in. It's like, okay.
that's a huge win, because there are so many people who can't even get that. So, small miracles and small
Yeah.
silver linings, for as much as a job sucks sometimes.
Yeah, the stuff people will put up
Yeah.
with, I mean, you put up with a
Yeah.
lot,
Yeah. And but
so
if you want to take it one step back and go, okay, like let's try and reframe this so that I don't have like crippling anxiety about these scenarios for the rest of my life. um, had my original supervisor not been as miserable and awful to me as she had, would I have been as motivated to get the hell out of there? Probably not. I wouldn't have moved.
Mhm.
We would have had our kids up north. Our kids would have had little to no access to healthcare in general, and like the school system. Like, it's a really small school system. There's not a lot of activities. Like, my kids would have been
Mm.
at a disadvantage. I probably wouldn't have written the book. I probably wouldn't have been, going out and teaching and been as passionate about teaching. Like, I may have fallen into the same trap of like eating the new, had she not been so awful.
Yeah.
So
You would have
I
turned into one of her. I'm just
what? And
kidding.
so like with the book, I'm like, oh man, I'm so tempted to like send a signed copy to her. Chapter 17 just for
Do it.
you. Like,
I mean, that's the perfect, like, segue into that, like, why did you I mean, it seems like
oh,
you're a hustler, like, you got
oh,
Etsy
so
page going
much.
on, you got,
Yeah.
Nurses Happy Place, 100
Yeah.
Shifts Journal, grief journals, you do I'm curious about the selling body scores. How
So
do you do
the
that?
medical
Like
intuitive portion. So I'm a medical intuitive also, which I did find out during COVID, just because there was no more fighting left in me to like put it off. So with COVID, with writing the book actually was just a trauma journal, where I was like, okay, if I die and my kids can't understand why I kept going to work when I could have died, I want them to have some memories of me, of
Mm,
like, okay, these are some of mom's stories from being a nurse that she's super proud of, that this is why she kept going back, so that, heaven forbid, if anything happened, this hopefully can help explain the why. And so it started out, with all the good stories, and then of course led into the bad stories. And it's just like, oh man, there was so much trauma that I haven't dealt with. Sorry, excuse me. And it's just like, okay, well, now that we've kind of looked into that and we've kind of dealt with that, and it's helped me kind of come out of the burnout a bit, because there was all this baggage in the back that I wasn't even dealing with. you know you're kind of like, well, is there like, what was the link between all these stories? And it's like, well, I trusted my gut. And it's like, oh, well, trusting your gut, well, it's kind of a very woo woo concept that um we talk about jokingly at 3 a.m. It's like, oh, I trusted my gut, and the patient was going to die. But I was able to grab the doc, and I, was able to help. And so, in talking to a lot of coworkers, it's like, okay, well, how often are you doing this? Oh, all the time. Like, oh, so if we're all doing this, why aren't we teaching it? It's like, well, obviously it's got to be peer reviewed,
mm,
evidence based, fact, in order to bring it into nursing. So I'm like, okay, well, let me look just for shits and gigs, because I'm like, there's no way that there's going to be evidence to this. And sure enough, not only is there a crap ton of evidence for intuition, but there's also a bunch on specifically intuition in nursing. And so it's like, holy crap, they've proven this. They've brought it into evidence. I'm like, okay, if it's backed by evidence, we need to be teaching this. So that's how the book kind of got going.
mm,
And it's with that, then the body scans kind of started to kind of come around, because I was just goofing around with that idea of intuition. So for the body scans, somebody will send me an unaltered photo of themselves, so no filters or anything. And I'll just kind of sit and I meditate and I kind of like zoom into their eyes and I just kind of sit there. And then all of a sudden, like something will go. So either I'll get a twitch here or there, my head will start to spin, or my chest will feel tight, or I'll feel super hungover. The one's pair of friends were like super hungover. I'm like, guys, why did you do this to me? like I didn't even get to drink and I feel so hungover, and had no idea that they'd been drinking the night before. And so it just got to practicing it a bit, and it's like, okay, well, let's try. And so I keep waiting for someone to say like, oh no, you're completely off your rocker, you don't know what you're doing, like you're nuts. And I'm like, I understand that I'm nuts, but I keep waiting for someone to say, no, you're wrong. And it hasn't happened. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep going with it and, kind of use it a little bit at work, only to the point of like trusting that when I'm seeing, like, I don't like what I'm seeing with the patient, like either their skin color, like their pallor, or their vitals are kind of a little askew and they're not going in the right direction, or their breathing looks a little wonky, or there's like a rash that I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. It's one of those things where it's just like, okay, like I'm gonna fully go with it and just go nuts. And so in talking about it, in letting other people read the book, they're like, oh yeah, no, this is 100%, I do this all the time. And I'm like, why don't we talk about it? So now it's getting to the point of, let's talk about it, let's bring it out. And I've been starting to talk to brand new like first year nursing students about kind of my stories and the trusting your gut and all this kind of stuff. And their feedback has been phenomenal. And that's where actually most of the journals have come from, was their concerns, because they're all of a month into nursing school and they're like, how do you deal with death? How do you deal with grief? How do you balance your work-life balance? What's burnout feel like? How can you avoid burnout? And I'm just like, man, I wish I had good answers for you. I'm like, unfortunately, alcohol is the answer for most of these for a while. But then you get to a point where it's like, okay, you get a little bit more comfortable with death. You get a little bit more comfortable with grief. You get a little bit easier with how you nurse, and you understand that a lot of people are coming at you with a lot of emotions, and you kind of have to put a little bit of a wall up so that you're not picking up too much on their emotions, because you're no good to them if you're like a puddle of crying mess, and it's the family that's having to oh no, it's okay kind of thing to you. So it's
What do you think it
it's
is? Do you think
intuition.
it's like, do you think you're like
I am an
empathic?
empath. I am
I've
absolutely an
heard that.
empath. And you get to a point where you're like, you're having a great day, everything's fine, and then something traumatic comes in, and the family's there, and they're super upset, and all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with this like heavy, gross feeling of all these emotions, and you want to cry, and you're upset, and you're anxious, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. 2 seconds ago, I was fine. So this is not mine. And so it takes a lot of time to get to the point of like, okay, I can be empathetic towards your feelings, but I can't take them on. So you can have them back. And this is not mine. This is
Yeah,
not
you have to
mine.
have like a boundary,
100% boundaries.
like
Boundaries are
set
huge.
boundaries. Yeah.
They're so important. But again, it's something that they don't teach you.
I mean, I think that's proof. Yeah, I think that's proof, like just the people who are like rationalists and like they need proof and everything, but it's like that stuff you can't see,
Yeah.
but you can feel it
But they're
and
proving it.
it's there.
They're proving it. So it's just,
Yeah.
you think 100 years ago, um, massage and chiropractor, like those were unheard of terms, and they all thought, people thought that those people were nuts and that kind of thing. And now we're moving into a time where like, no, it's included in benefits and all these kind of things, and it's necessary. Like there's so much more going on with the human body than we can understand, like even just emotions and how emotions can manifest as pain. Huge. like, but we're not there
Mm.
yet. So it's like, it's going to take some time. And I hope I get to see it in my lifetime, that we start to recognize that, like, there, the, the emotional cost of trauma and pain are interlinked. And, you know, sometimes, what you're feeling, panic attacks alone, like, what is causing, those are very physical sensations when you are having them. And
Mm.
when you get caught up in them, like, and it's so hard to come out, but it's emotion based. So it's like, how do you then try to help somebody when it's coming at an emotion base and not like a physical base? So it's like, okay, well, and unfortunately in the ER, I don't have a ton of time to talk to people, but there are moments when I get to, and it's jaw dropping what people will tell you in the span of like 5 minutes if you're just willing to listen. And I wish we had the time. I really do.
Maybe that should be your next venture.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see how well this one goes. Like,
So, you
I
wrote a book
did.
about it. So what is like, are there benefits to getting a body scan? Like, is there benefits to having this nursing intuition, and like, what is
So
your
the
book
book is
about?
more, a little bit more straight laced, a little less woo woo than the body scan portion. But nursing intuition,
Mm.
it's pretty much just the idea that you need to trust your gut. So sometimes people, you'll feel it as a heaviness in your gut. Sometimes it's just a kind of chest tightness that kind of grabs you. Sometimes it's just an idea that pops into your head. And it's a skill that if you have the ability to take the time to hone it a little bit, or even just recognize that it's happening, it can be so powerful. So again, like somebody coming into the emerge, and you're doing the once over, and before you're getting lab work back, before you're getting more than one or two set of vitals, and you're just going like, I don't like the way you look. And it's not a comment on like physicality. It's just, there's something going on that I don't like the situation. And it just, so for me, it just kind of like, it catches me and it pushes me back a little bit. And it's just that constant, like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. And it really doesn't go away unless I talk to my doc and I say, hey, I've got this person, this is what's going on, ABCD. Here are their vitals, here are their history. I don't like how this is going. And the good docs and the experienced docs will stop and they will come and see your patient. The newer ones
Mm.
have to learn the lesson sometimes of, it's not all about just vitals, oh, but their vitals are pristine. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, for now, but like something's coming down the pipes where things are gonna take a turn. And unfortunately, sometimes residents, so the newer docs, need to have an experience or two or three where the nurses come to them to say, hey, I don't like how this is going. And again, everybody's got their own
Mm.
wording. I don't like how this is going. I don't like how this feels. I'm just, something doesn't feel right. um, I'm just not sure. There's a couple of different ways that people have said it, that they don't even realize that that's what they're doing, is trusting their gut. So it's like, okay, you're coming to your doc, you're going outside of yourself to then ask for help, to say, I don't like what's going on, please help. And so, and then the studies again, if you still want to come at it like, oh, it's a very woo woo concept, like whatever, the studies show that just the doc coming in and seeing that patient again still increases patient outcomes. Like it still improves patient outcomes. So even if you're brand new to nursing and you're very timid and you don't want to bother the doc and you're just not sure what's going on, doesn't matter. You can, like, it's going to take time to realize what sick versus not sick versus holy shit gonna die looks like. um but
Mm.
if you can trust your gut enough to then go to the doc, and again, even if you're totally wrong, it still benefits the patient. And that's just kind of it.
I mean, I could totally see that because like, I don't think it's woo woo at all. I think humans have vibrational like frequencies that we send off that we can't
100%.
see. I mean, just like the evidence in our brains, you know, we have electrical charges, the neurons. Like we can't physically see that unless we have like dissect a brain or some crap. Or I always tell people like
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, your internet, like you can't
And
see
yet,
Wi-Fi, but you know it's there. Yeah, I think especially in the nursing or medical field where you're always around different energies, you eventually get this nursing intuition that you
yeah.
trademarked. And
Now I'm gonna have to put a patent in, man.
I mean, I'm saying it like you trademark. I think this nursing intuition, uh, it's easier like to
Yeah.
differentiate when you're in that field because you're around so many different types of energies.
Oh, yeah. You
Like you
can
were just
feel
saying,
people
like you
out.
may be around somebody that thinks they're sick, but they're not sick, or people that are sick
Oh,
or
yeah.
depressed, happy, whatever. And when you're around that for 16 plus years, you pick up on it. And I think I 100%
Oh,
believe it's a thing.
and it is. It's like it's just one of these things where it's a very it's just one of these topics that only comes up at 3 a.m. Most Yeah,
It's like new, yeah.
most nurses don't talk about it because if they've never heard kind of the term trust your gut, if you were never taught in nursing school that that's a thing, like I am just so thankful that in nursing school there was one professor that actually said, just make sure to trust your gut. And I forgot that they had said that for years
Mm.
until all of this kind of came around. I'm like, oh my God, I remember her saying that. And I'm like, oh, thank God she said that. Cause like, I wonder, had I not heard that, would I have put any faith or any, like, would I've put any, what's the word? Would I've put any weight into what I'm feeling, right? Like, where I thought I was just good at
Yeah,
my
yeah.
job, but no, I think there's more to this. And the more people talk, like the more open I am about how nutso and woo woo I am, the more other people are kind of coming up and saying like, oh yeah, no, I totally get that. And I totally feel that. And what do you think about this? And so it starts this conversation that then, oh my God, we're all doing it. Why aren't we talking about it? Why aren't we teaching it? Why aren't we, you know, why is this only a 3 a.m. conversation? It's just driving me nuts that it's only when, the ghost stories start that all of a sudden we talk about nursing intuition kind of thing. So it's just,
I mean, I think it goes further than just nursing intuition. I think for y'all though, you like I was saying, you're around so many different energies that it's kind of like a
oh
natural,
yeah,
like a given thing that you're gonna eventually like pick up on it. But for people who aren't around that all the time, you're not gonna really understand it. Do you think during your 5 years, do you think you were neglecting it?
I have at least one story where I trusted it. And so ended up, again, I think I was only maybe 1 or 2 years in. I just done some education about like sepsis and I'd done a certificate because again, I'm super bored. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Stupid phone. I don't know. Stop. I don't want it. And sorry. Oh, the phone. The phone's connected to everything.
It's all good.
And so, I go in, I go to check my patient. He's got pancreatitis. I do his vitals first thing in the morning, and vitals are okay. And as I'm standing there, he goes, ugh, and he like doubles over. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, okay. I'm like, weird. Do his vitals again. They're a little askew, but again, like pain, stress, anxiety is going to bring your blood pressure up. Pain is going to bring up your heart rate. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. We're going to give it a minute. So day goes on. His color starts to go. So he goes to more like pale and then white and then waxy and like green. He starts sweating a ton. And I'm like, oh man, this is not good. I keep doing vitals. Vitals are trending in the absolute wrong direction. And I keep calling the doc to be like, hey, when are you coming in? This guy's not doing so well. I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. And the doc, oh, he's got a history of pancreatitis. His lipase, what's his lipase? Oh, his lipase has been so much worse before. And I'm like, no, but like, you got to see this guy, because she hadn't come in yet. And I'm like, no, you got to see this guy. So I'm like watching this guy visibly deteriorate, and I'm like stressing out, because I'm like, I can't even see my other patients, because like this guy is not good. Doc finally comes in. She's like, oh, just run a bolus and we'll do a bit of this. I'm like, we're past running boluses. Like, we need to do more. Like, I need medications. I need something. I need imaging. I need blood work. I need more. And she kept like patting me on the head pretty well to be like, you're fine. Yeah, you're fine. Don't do it. Don't worry about it. He's been sicker before. I'm like, no, something's not right. And ended up, so that was 7 a.m. to noon. By 1 o'clock, we had moved him into our one cardiac room, and he just was on death's door. Within a half an hour of moving him into the cardiac room, he arrested, and we're doing chest compressions. We're doing all these things. And by 2 o'clock, he was dead. And I'm like, what just happened? I'm like, this all happened so fast. And again, I hadn't had a ton of experience with death either. So I'm like, this is not what. So I was completely discombobulated. I was done. And I'm crying because like, oh my God, what did I miss? And how could I have improved? And oh my God, it feels like it's my fault. And charting and charting my as best I can, and trying to remember what everything happened, because everything happened so fast. And pretty much he was just written off. Oh, he's an alcoholic. His lipase has always been high. He's had chronic pancreatitis for forever. He was like written off. I was like, this is disgusting. So when I left, 2, 3, 4 years later, that same doctor finally comes up to me and says, hey, don't let them tell you that you don't know what you're doing, because you absolutely do. I'm like, you waited years to tell me this? And I knew exactly what she was talking about. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I was so mad. I was like, do you know how much that comment would have made a difference in the days and months after that? Because I obsessed over that case for months, thinking like, what could I have done? Could I have acted sooner? Could I have given him something? Could we have started fluids earlier? Could we have started blood pressure medications to like bring up his blood pressure? No, nothing. He, looking back, I don't think there was anything you could have done. I think he probably perfed his bowel. And he just did not do well. He was a very unwell man to start with, but it just rocked me. And for her to like hold on to that comment for fucking years, just slayed me. I was like, oh, I could have used that a long time ago, but I was just like, I was already in the midst of like leaving. So I was like, you know what, forget it, whatever, I'm done.
I guess before we move to our conclusion, and how do you like deal with grief, and like, because it's like indirect grief, right? It's like, it's not, you don't have a relationship with them, but you feel like this story that you told, you felt this grief, and like somebody died, and I don't experience that. And the only death I had experienced was my dad, and this was like 7 years ago, and I wasn't really close with him because my parents divorced, and he was like wasn't there. But it's just a weird feeling. It's like a empty, like, just I don't know
that's grief,
how do you
right?
deal with
Like,
grief?
grief is so everybody processes grief so differently. And so, it's hard to come to terms with, I may have only known that man for 6 hours, but because he was my responsibility, you end up carrying this extra weight to it, right? Like, I was responsible for his care. I was responsible to catch this. I was responsible. So it's hard when somebody comes in and there's really nothing you can do. like a cardiac arrest coming in with EMS. You're just coming in at the tail end of things, and you're just kind of giving it a good college try to see if you can bring that person back. But CPR, the amount of people who've come back after a heart attack or a heart arrest, has been few and far between in my experience. And so you get to a point where, you do the things, you go through the motions, you do the chest compressions, you give the meds, you do everything you can. And you get to a point where you can kind of put, again, another wall up, right? Yeah. You put up
The
another boundary
boundary.
and you're just like, okay, this isn't
Yeah.
mine. Again, I can empathize with the family. I can be supportive to the family. But this isn't mine to take. And after you've seen 5, 10, 15, 20 deaths that really there was no way that you really could have changed the outcome, you kind of get it becomes a little bit easier to accept.
You
Oh,
get numb
100%.
to it.
It's
You
still
become
like
numb.
putting the toe tags on people still icks me. I have to close their eyes. That's just something I do, because I'm just like,
Oh, you see a lot of like just pure like
well,
death eyes.
depending on how long they've been dead before they get to us, they're kind of stuck open a bit, right? Because you're not producing fluid, so it's really hard to close them. But we do a lot of cornea transplants. So, half the thing is, if you need to be able to close their eyes so that if they are a candidate and the family agrees to organ transplantation, you can save the corneas and help somebody see kind of down the line.
Oh, wow.
So it started out just as kind of like I don't want to have them look at me kind of thing. And now it's kind of turned into just a practice, because we actually have access to organ donation where I'm working. But it's,
Yeah. But they're not really
no,
looking at you,
but
right?
it's, you can still kind of feel them. Like, and to be
Yeah,
fair,
a
I
weird
still have a
feeling.
death ritual where, after everybody, like after the family's gone, after everything's kind of calmed down, because the ER is so close to the very front of the hospital, I'll go in and I'll say, like, okay, Mr. and Mrs. So and so, I'm so very sorry, but it was your time to go. It seemed like you had a lovely family. I hope you had a happy life. But if you want to follow me, I'll walk you out. And so then I'll like walk out the front door or the emerge doors, and I used to get looks from my colleagues to be like, "Why are you walking out? Why are you
Wait,
walking
talk
out?"
like
And I'm just like,
say
"Nah,
like you're
it's
like
fine. Just give
talking
me
to
a minute."
yourself or what?
So during COVID, there was one little lady who was dying, and family couldn't come in because there were no visitors at the time. And so I gowned all up and I sat with her. And that was the first time that I actually saw somebody just die without intervention, which is actually really unsettling.
Mm.
Um, and it's just like, oh, okay, like sat. Thankfully, it was quite quick. By the time I figured out what was going on, but you degown, you wash your hands, and you're like, I'm going back to the back to like cry and have my one moment of tears, and then I got to go back to work, and I'm about to like go back outside or back to the room, or our break room, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh, I forgot to walk out the soul. So I'm like, oh my god, and like crying. And I go back
Oh.
up into the room. I'm like, okay, Mrs. So and so, I'm so sorry, and I'm so sorry that your daughters weren't able to be here, but like it seems like they were lovely, and but it's time to go.
Man,
And
I
so
love that though.
get
I
this,
love that you're
I
doing
walk
that.
her out,
Yeah.
and it's this ridiculous gloomy day, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about her. And so I walk her out, and I'm like, just kind of like, oh my god, this is really unsettling. And I look over, and it's the most beautiful rainbow I think I've ever seen in my entire life. And I run back inside. I'm like, oh my god, guys, you got to see this rainbow. It's so cool, because like we were just trying to find any happiness at that point. And so everybody like rushes out, and the rainbow's gone. And so everybody walks back in,
Oh, wow.
and I stay outside. I'm like, okay, that was for me. I understand. I get it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Like, and then I go back out and cry, because I'm just like, oh my god, and then we have to wrap the body and get it all ready for the morgue kind of thing. So it's
Are you
so spiritual.
spiritual?
So spiritual. Like
Like in
pagan.
a good way? pagan? Is that, what is
So,
that?
pagan is a very old kind of religion where it's very much nature based, very spiritual, very, everything happens for a reason, um, that kind of
Mm,
spiritual.
it's not related to
No.
Christianity, or
I
is it?
mean, the Christians, if you look at Christianity and paganism, there are a lot of traditions in paganism that have been kind of redirected by Christians. So, Christmas is actually
Mm,
Yule. And that's where the Yule log comes in. Is if you were to take a log and burn it at your hearth, the idea was that you are keeping out any spirits that are trying to cross over during that time. Easter is actually Ostara, which is, or what we believe is Ostara, and it's fertility and
mm-hmm.
rebirth and all this kind of stuff. We're very yeah we're
Oh,
very
it's
big on the
similar.
equinoxes, so
Yeah.
longest day, longest night. Um, Love me a good full moon. We
Mm.
actually just had a beautiful big blue super moon last night.
Yeah, I just seen. Yeah,
It's
I seen
phenomenal. I
that
got up
here
early
too.
because I'm like, I just want to sit in the silence and goof around on my phone and look at the moon. Like,
I mean, it's something we've lost
oh,
touch with,
100%.
honestly, like, because of
Yeah.
light pollution.
It's hard, right? And then, even getting into paganism and kind of just getting used to the calendar, and again, we're big into like the ER and the nursing folk are big into the full moons because we all know how crazy people get on the full
Mm.
moon. So you're tracking it without realizing that you're tracking it. But once you actually like put the effort into like, oh, the full moon happens every month. Oh my god! And it's like, let's track this.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah.
like a day before, day of, day after that people are just out of their minds. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Really?
At least so from the nursing world of things, retail will probably
Mm,
also tell
yeah.
you, anybody working retail will probably also tell you the same thing. And people are just absolutely nuts.
Something about
Oh,
the
there's
full moon.
70% water, and the moon controls the tides. Hmm.
Mm, gravity or something.
Something. The magic. It's all about the magic.
Well,
What
do you
about
want to cover
No, I'm
anything before
good.
we move on?
Let's play a card game.
All right. Where should we begin?
Love
Completely
random.
random. Share something unforgettable about a time I wish I would have spoken up when.
I wish I'd have spoken up when something was unforgettable. I mean, that's a hard one because, like, really, I'm so used to speaking up when something's bugging me that it's, you know, you do it so much at work that you then bring it home. But
Hmm.
no, just honestly, just when nurses are being complete assholes, and we just take it, and we shouldn't take it. I should have spoken up sooner about my first bully. I should have followed up on the second one, and uh, the third one was a COVID anti-vaxxer, so she got fired. So, I mean, karma works out in lovely, fun little ways.
Oh, we didn't
Oh, I
even
kind of
talk
figured
about
that was going to
that.
be a hot button issue. That's why I avoided it.
We didn't even. I mean, I have my own
and
feelings about
and
it.
everybody's got their own
Everybody has their
feelings.
own opinions.
And at this point,
Yeah,
it's
I'm. I'm not vaccinated. I'm not
and
vaccinated.
that's your decision. And uh, truly, it makes no difference to me. But it just
Yeah.
like back when everybody was first getting the vaccine, like when I got the call to finally, they were doing a lottery for the healthcare workers to see who would get the vaccine and like in what order. And so I remember we all had our phones out, um, in front of our ward clerk in PACU, and everybody had their phones turned up because if you missed the call, you didn't know if they were when they would call you again. So everybody had their phones turned on, which we never normally have our phones turned on. And my phone rang, and I'm like running to it. I'm like, oh my God, got the call. I actually took a picture just after the phone call, and I like was just floored. It was all of a sudden this huge burden being
Mm.
lifted off to be like, oh my God, I might actually make it through this. I might actually survive. I might actually be
Mm.
okay. And to me, the vaccine represented just a shit ton of hope in a very, very dark time. So,
Okay.
I mean, it's easier to say that now than it was at the time. At the time, I probably would have been super pissed. Uh, Sorry?
Why? Why?
Because at the time, it felt like people who had the ability to get vaccinated and who chose not to, it felt like a stab in the back to healthcare workers who are working so hard to make sure that everybody was going to be okay. And, you know, it felt like you were turning your back on everybody else. It felt like a very selfish decision at the time. And it riled up a lot of feelings, like a lot of feelings. And to be fair, like we were already to the brink. So it was just one more thing to add on top to like it was just kind of the last thing to like push us all over the edge to be pissed at. So I mean,
I mean that's the point though. Like that I don't even want to get into like
I mean, feel
conspiracies or
free.
whatever, but that's kind of the point to I mean that's kind of the point. The point of of the government creating something like this is to create more division between there's always going to be some division, and the more the people in society and the world are divided, the more the government has control over uh, what you do and the decisions you make. So if somebody like you're saying, like there's anti-vaxxers, if you're in if you fall into that category, then people automatically judge you a certain way, or they
Yep.
have a certain opinion about you, and then the vice versa. The people um, like that did get the vaccine and that did like I was in a time where I was in the Navy still, in the military, and they were kicking out people, they were
Yeah.
terminating your contract if you did not
Yeah.
get the vaccine. And I was lucky that I didn't want to get it. And I just not enough research. I don't want to be a test patient. I don't want to like that was my reasoning.
And fair
And
enough. Like
it,
I did get a lot of the angles where, you know, women who hadn't yet had kids were scared of it. I understand. You don't know how that's we don't know how that would affect a
mm,
fetus. We don't know how that would kind of play into things long term. I understand. Those who were super immunocompromised and had reactions to previous vaccines, yeah, I understand that you're
mm,
already compromised and you really can't throw your body into any more of a like you're already fighting stuff off. You can't you don't have the reserves to like fight off anything more. I kind of understand that.
yeah,
It you know there were there were scenarios where you're like okay I could kind of understand but again we were just so out of it that it was just like you know what this is what I'm doing for
yeah,
me.
I get that too.
I'm doing my best so that my kids don't get sick, so that my parents don't get sick, so that my patients don't get sick, kind of thing. Um, it was just that kind of angle, and truly, again, for me, it was just
Yeah,
more of like I can continue to work and I can continue to be healthy and I can be
yeah,
okay, and it was just it was honestly like a mental safety blanket. Yeah, and it was just
safety,
like it was
yeah.
just calming, and I was like, "Okay, we."
No, I get that because my
Yeah,
brother got fired.
and I mean,
He was a,
oh,
mental health, nurse, so he worked in, like, the
oh, more
psych
power
ward or
to
whatever,
him.
and he yeah, they
Yeah,
made that whole protocol where it's
yeah.
like, if you don't get vaccinated,
And
you're
so I know in Canada there is talks of reversing that decision. And again, do I think it should have come from a government level? Probably not. Should it have come from just an employer level? Absolutely. I've got to be vaccinated for everything else to work in my
Yeah.
workplace and provide proof of immunization to everything else. So to me, it didn't seem like it was out of the ordinary that, like, oh, I've got to get this vaccination to continue to work. I mean, I was just so happy to be able to get the vaccination in the first place. Ended up participating in 2 different COVID studies, about, like, did I have COVID antigens and all this kind of stuff. And I think I'd only had 1 shot by the time they did the original blood work, and it showed that I had COVID antigens. So I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, but they couldn't tell you whether or not it was from the COVID shot, like, and that's how you develop the antigens, or if it was just because you were
Yeah.
so often exposed.
See, they should have
I
done
know.
like a
I
before
just
and
don't
after
think,
for
I
that.
think they were just so hurried to, like, get everybody vaccinated that they could vaccinate,
Yeah.
especially those working in the front lines. That, research was kind of a little bit of a second thought, which again, like, in the
Yeah.
moment, yes, getting the vaccine rolled out was the priority. You know, had I had the option to participate in the study before the COVID vaccination, I still would have, because it was, again, another safety blanket. Oh, I've got antigens. Okay,
Have you
if
ever
I get
got
sick, I'm not
COVID?
going to get too bad. I have had COVID twice now. First time, thankfully, was, I think, 2 years after everything started. And so I was okay. It wasn't great, but I was okay. My husband got hit really hard. My mother-in-law, who brought it, got hit really hard. Her friend that also came down with her got hit really hard. My son, the asthmatic, we were in and out of the children's hospital twice within 24 hours.
Mm.
And I've got a lot of things to help with him at home. And had we been able to stay at home, I absolutely would have stayed at home, because heaven forbid you're walking into the ER that was crowded. I've never seen it so busy. And, heaven forbid there's some kid who's getting chemo in the waiting room waiting to come in, and we've got
Yeah.
COVID. And I felt so bad. So I'm like, put on we've got our masks on, and I'm like, he's playing at my feet because there's nowhere to sit. And I'm just like, I just want to keep my face down. And I'm like, I am so sorry. Like, I would feel so bad if I made anybody else sicker than they already were, kind of thing. So it
Oh
just,
yeah.
yeah.
I had it
How
once.
bad?
I just I just
Yeah.
felt really
You were
tired.
lucky.
Like it was like a really, really bad
Yeah.
like headache, like just a crap ton of pressure in your head, like
Yeah.
just something's like just like pounding on your head, and just super tired like for a week straight. Like I felt like imagine if you like get woken up in the middle of the night and like
Yeah.
you're like half
You're
awake.
just like,
I felt like that, but for like
ugh.
24/7 for like a week straight.
I mean, you're lucky. There was a lot of people who ended up on ventilators, and I know of one person that we put on a ventilator who they proned them, so they laid them on their stomach. Unfortunately, the
Mm.
gentleman ended up, due to pressure sores. So pressure sores, when you stay in the same position and you're against bony prominences, and your skin kind
Yeah.
of breaks down because there's no blood flow because it's up against, the mattress.
Yeah, I know what you're
He
talking
lost
about.
his penis, unfortunately. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What? How does
Because
that
he
even
was
happen?
prone, right? So he was a big guy. They laid him on his stomach, and he
Okay.
was so
That makes
sick that
more
you
sense
couldn't,
that
yeah,
he
and
was
you couldn't really
overweight.
turn him too much, right? So you couldn't take the pressure off of things. And so by the time they rolled him over a couple of days later, I guess it just was not good.
It just
100%
died. It died.
lack of
This
blood
is
flow.
not
Like,
funny,
this
but
poor
it's okay.
guy. I don't know if he survived or not.
You could get surgeries for that. Get a bigger one. No.
Look at the upside, dude. Look at the upside.
I mean, you lost it, but you can use all that
The
fat
government will
that
cover it too. It's
you
Canada. It's
had.
fine. I
So it's
get
a
that.
win-win.
Hilarious.
But you
Let's
ready
do
for
it.
these
Let's do it.
final questions? They can be
Okay.
quick, they can be deep, whatever. The first question is, what is your biggest regret?
Not sleeping around more. As a teenager
What do you mean?
and a young adult, I you know
Hmm.
I kind of wished I'd been sluttier. To be fair,
I mean, I think girls go through that phase, to be honest. I think it's a phase for like a lot of young
I
women.
was a serial monogamist, so I was in relationships a lot,
Hmm.
so I didn't, there wasn't a lot of time in between relationships to kind of just go nuts.
Where you
Yeah,
were
yeah.
just like
So,
single.
and then
Yeah.
meeting my husband, so it's like, well, you kind of wish you'd, you know, gone for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps actually because when you go through that phase, I mean, for both men and women, you figure out
Yeah,
more of what you
yeah,
like and what you don't like, and it kind of narrows down the like what
yeah,
your standards and
exactly.
stuff. So yeah, I'm for that. Like I'm for
Go nuts.
people
Be
just like
safe.
you don't have to
Nah,
call it like
just,
slut. Don't
just
be a slut. Just
I could
explore
have
more.
explored more. I should have
Explore more.
explored more. I was too busy
Yeah.
being a serial monogamist, so I feel like I missed out sometimes.
See, but there's
No,
nothing wrong with that either,
no,
though.
it's just like it's one of those things. Like, you know, if you could have, you would have. Well, the next,
Wait, what did you say?
the
Shit, you
darn,
just fucking froze as
it's
soon
like
as.
if you could have, you would have, kind of thing. Like had I known
Oh
then
yeah,
what I
yeah,
know
yeah,
now,
yeah.
kind of thing. Like, I mean, it's not a thing about being slutty. It's just like, and I don't anybody do be happy. Like honestly, go out, be happy, have fun, be
Yeah, yeah.
safe, be careful.
Hmm.
But no, have fun. Honestly, life's too short. Take it from somebody who's seen way too much death. Life's too short.
Yeah, go become a swinger.
Well, it's
No, I'm
one of
just
those
kidding.
things that we joke about all the time.
That's too much.
Apparently, so get this. Actually, funny enough, the town that we moved to when we were looking at houses in this area, the real estate agent pipes up. She's like, "Oh, this is a big area for swingers." I'm like, "Is that a selling point? I don't understand. Like, how do you know this? Like, I don't understand." So it's become an ongoing joke now that it's like, "Oh, look at all the scars on the houses and see
Yeah,
if the garage door is open just like a little bit." Like that's an invite in.
I don't think I could do that because swingers are basically in open
Yeah, there's
relationships
boundaries.
where they're
Yeah,
in a
there's
relationship, but
boundaries, right?
then
Like it's a couple
uh
activity. It's definitely not a singular activity because there's got to be
mhm.
a lot of trust. But man, those people, if you can do it and be happy and have a functional relationship with it, go nuts. Be happy, be free. Like, oh my god, like yeah, no, if you have got to have some sort of serious level of trust with your partner to be able to do that and continue to do it and be functional and be happy. Go do you.
I think you guys like somebody who is a swinger. I think both people just have to
Yeah,
have
you
that
can't like
mindset.
force somebody into
Like it
it.
can't just
That's
be
not
one.
that's not going to work
Yeah,
at
it
all.
can't like you
No.
both have to be
No.
like, yeah, let's do
So both
this.
people have to be on board with this and it can't be like a last ditch effort to save the marriage
Mm,
either because that's definitely not going to work. If it's already coming up as like
oh
well, we're
yeah.
already on the brink, so why not kind of thing. I don't think that that's going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Did
actually
you?
did something like that with my last
Then
relationship.
there you
Yeah, it
go.
wasn't worth it. It really wasn't. No, it wasn't because I think sometimes when we have like an overly active, like lustful mind, I think it can take away from more important things. I mean, not to say that like sex isn't important, but to me, I think there is more
Oh,
important things
absolutely.
than just like
Yeah.
lustful activity. So I think it could take away from that.
it's one of those things that it's so heavily ingrained in us, just at your base. Well, just think, like, baseline DNA,
Yeah.
all that you were
To
expected to
procreate.
do
Yeah.
way back when there was literally nothing else to do in cavemen, like, it was just procreate. Like, that was just all
Procreate.
you were supposed
Yeah.
to do, because that nobody was living long enough to do much else, right? So it's so heavily ingrained
Yeah.
in us that it's like, how do
It
can
is.
you
Yeah.
can understand a little bit, but we've obviously come a long way since then.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I think of is like when we were
Yeah.
in tribes and stuff, like when we first started building these like small communities, and I could only imagine just
Oh,
everybody was
forget about it,
doing
right? Like,
everything
it's
with
just it's
everybody.
there was no monogamy, that's for sure. So it's,
Yeah,
again,
yeah. It was just purely like
that's
survive.
all it
Let's
was
try
survival.
to make
That was
more
it.
people to,
Well, how many women died in
yeah.
childbirth even up to like the 1900s? Like, it's
Oh
it's
yeah, that too.
it's something else.
There was no epidurals back then.
Those people. These people who want to have home births, kudos to you, but man, please give me the medications. I had epidurals in both deliveries, but the first one did not take, with my son. It didn't end up working.
Mm.
I'm gonna call it a natural birth, because man, I felt everything. So I no, kudos to those who decide to do it that way, but I'm very happy with the drugs. That's fine by me.
Yeah, when we had our my baby mama and me had our kids, uh the lady next to us didn't get the epidural, and we just heard her like
Yeah,
for
no
hours, just
thanks.
like screaming her lungs
No,
out,
thank
like,
you. Not at all. Not no. No. The midwives, so we had midwives, and the midwives were
yeah.
like, "Oh, are you going to do a home birth?" I'm like, "No, thanks. This is my, first delivery. I don't know how it's going to go. The hospital is my safe space. I'm going to go to the hospital, thanks." And
Mm,
I said, "Oh, and I might want an epidural. I don't know, because I've never been in that much pain. So how could I possibly choose months
yeah.
ahead whether or not I'll have an epidural? That's ridiculous."
Yeah.
And so they're like, "Oh, I don't know, the drugs." And I'm like, "And you know what else? You know what else is drugs? Antibiotics." So I, I'm gonna take the drugs. Thank you. I will do. If I want the
Yeah.
drugs, give me the drugs. I'm an equal opportunity birther. Like, take the drugs, don't take the drugs, whatever. But for me,
Yeah.
no,
There's
absolutely
nothing
not.
wrong with that.
Take them. Take them. Don't take them. It's your decision. It should be influenced by nobody else. It is your decision. You're the one dealing with the pain. You do you. Like,
Mm.
let's do it.
Ready for the next question? Who or what has made the biggest impact in your life that makes you who you are today?
Probably my dad, to be fair. Mom and dad are both
Mm,
equal candidates, but my dad, he was very much the, you know, um, keep your head down, push through, power through, that kind of thing. And
mm,
so that very quiet mindset was always kind of in the back of my head, during everything. And so um, it was only after, a couple of years into COVID, and I told my parents, I'm like, "Hey, I'm taking antidepressants." They're like, "Oh, no, antidepressants!" Like, "Oh my god, oh, nobody's." What did Dad say? "Oh, nobody's mentally tough anymore." And I'm like, "Pardon me? Like, how much more
oh,
mentally tough do I need to
uh,
be?" I'm like, "I'm done." I'm like, "This is probably why I didn't take medication sooner. I love you both. We're just gonna graze
mm,
past this comment because I'm not in the mood." Uh, but no, the quiet strength of my dad, is a huge key player. And
do they help you? Like,
oh yeah,
do they still help you? Like
oh
or
yeah,
do you still take them?
living their best
Let
lives.
me
My
help.
dad's building the family cottage up at the lake kind of thing, and mom's still working like casually part-time. But she's almost to retirement, like she's so close. And
Hmm.
yeah, like they're it's kind of funny to watch your parents grow up as you do, and you kind of come into, especially being a parent, coming into the parent role, and then like kind of
Oh
seeing your
yeah,
parents in a
yeah.
different light, being like, oh my god,
You
how do you
understand it,
survive
yeah.
three of us? I can't survive two. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, there
Ugh,
was 4 of us,
your poor
and my
mother.
mom was a single mom. Yeah,
Can't even.
it
It's a
was
lot.
rough.
Parenting's not for the weak, man.
It's not, but I want a big family. Like, I wanna procreate some more.
Listen, as long as you're right there to help change diapers and discipline and be there to support mom whenever you can, that's all that really matters. Because, like, truly, um, the one thing that my husband did, it was just like, he did ask me, like, oh, how can I help? Which, at the time, you're like, you're sore, you're swollen, you're leaking, you're everything. And you're just like, I just
Like, the
can't,
first year.
I just don't want
Yeah.
to move. And so he was,
You
oh,
said you're
well,
leaking.
the breast pumping, and
Yeah.
then the baby would cry and then leak,
No,
and you're just like,
yeah.
oh my,
I
and
remember.
that was something else. I'm like, hey, look what my body can do. Fun times. Nobody warned me about this.
You're a
That's
cow.
great.
I'm just kidding.
um, and it was just like, I don't want to have to make any more decisions. I'm like, so he eventually kind of just started occasionally bringing me water or bringing me a snack or just taking the kid when they cried, and like kind of stepping up a bit. And I'm like, oh my god, that was just the greatest thing ever. I'm like, I just can't. You shouldn't have to ask me what to do. You're a parent. You're the other parent. You should know what to do.
Oh, yeah, for me, I was full on dad, like,
Oh,
especially
you
because
couldn't
we
be
had
gone.
2,
Yeah.
so there was no break, like, and in the beginning, the first 6 months, they were on different
Oh
sleep patterns,
no.
so, like,
Oh,
yeah, it was,
oh,
like, every 2 hours instead of, like,
oh,
every 4
oh.
hours, because they would sleep for,
Yeah,
like, 4-hour chunks,
but
but
opposite.
but they were on, misaligned. Yeah, it was, like, so it was really, like,
Oh
every
man.
2 hours. So we had this, like, whole setup where they were
Yeah.
just, like, right by the bed, in a crib on both
You've
sides.
got one, you've got one. We're even.
Yeah, and as soon as it would be like, "This is
Yeah,
your 4
you're
hours,
on. Have at it.
if she wakes up to cry,
Yeah,
she's
that's
on your
you.
side, like, go get her. If you hear her cry, that's you." So, yeah, I was a
Fabulous.
full-on dad,
Well
like,
done.
I would feel, like, weird if I didn't
I
help.
know. It was definitely a learning curve, like nothing else.
'Cause it's like a traditional, expectation or to have, like, oh,
That's
just
mom.
the
Well, you're
woman's
not
job.
working. Pardon me?
Yeah, I don't see it
Oh,
like
I'm
that,
working. I'm
yeah.
working on no sleep, and I'm working on barely eating, and I'm trying to deal with the hormones and the body functions that are brand new, and like all this stuff. Like, yeah, no, any help would be so appreciated.
I mean, p yeah, parenting is a
Huge.
full-time thing.
It's no joke.
So, but yeah, I want more. I'm ready
Hey,
for
good
that.
luck. If I got knocked up again, oh my god, I joke to the girls, like, just throw me into the loony bin, because I would just lose my like just lose my mind. Having them at 8 and 10 and like just about self sufficient, and after leaving the baby
Mm,
aisle,
yeah.
I couldn't see going back.
Oh, yeah, that was
That was a
super
big deal.
expensive too,
Was
like,
graduating.
hundreds of
Oh
dollars of diapers every
yeah.
month.
Do not miss those days. I mean, yes, they're super cute and all that, but oh man, basket case.
No, it's definitely rough, but I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Everybody's different, you know. Some people
Exactly,
want big
right?
families. But what is one lesson that you had
Uh,
to learn the hard way?
Standing up for myself. Standing up for myself was a real hard lesson, especially in the nursing world, to finally like step up and say like, this can't happen anymore. It's, you know, the bullying was just awful. And, you know, that was a lesson in itself that just was,
Mm,
had no idea that was coming and had no idea how to deal with it. But, you know, you got through, and looking back and you're just like, kudos to me for actually surviving and getting out of there and having my mental state still be intact.
I mean, you're here today,
and
man.
and doing some
Yeah,
kick-ass stuff. So I couldn't imagine a better
yeah.
life. Truly. It's thank
I'm
you.
proud of you.
It's, everything happens for a reason, and I'm just going with the
Mm,
flow and going with it, and just, doing things that make me super uncomfortable and putting myself out there and podcasting and all of it. So it's just me. Like, this is
it's
it,
part of the
and we'll
journey.
see what happens.
My next question is, what would you do or experience in life if you had all the time and money in the world?
Travel. I would travel everywhere. New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand. It was phenomenal. I would go back in a heartbeat, despite it being like a 24-hour flight. Love New Zealand. It was so lovely, and it was a bucket list item for sure. So it was just
Mm,
fantastic. Going around and, digging deep into my like ancestry DNA kind of stuff, and finding where great grandparents and great great grandparents were from, and going to those places and seeing them, and trying to like kind of refeel that connection, I think would be so fun. Just like hop all over.
where's that at?
So that's going to be a little bit of Scotland, a little bit of England, a little bit of Ireland. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what
And
I
so it's
have.
like,
Because I'm half white,
okay,
half Filipino.
yeah, I think that would be just so fun to like go way back in like ancestry DNA, find where everybody used to live, and try and go find it, and just have it be this like massive game to see where everybody used to live. I think that would be so much fun.
Mine was like huge on the
Yeah.
UK. It was like that was like my
Yeah.
other half was the
Well,
UK.
it's a big half for a lot of us.
Well, yeah, and then you have like the main
Yeah.
Europe, like main land of
I
Europe.
I would love to go see like London and Paris, and even to get into like all the like super cute little um countryside places where it's still like cobblestone
Oh
roads and
yeah,
thatched roof houses, and that kind of thing. I think that would be so much fun. Oh
like the
god, the
vineyards and stuff.
vineyards. Oh my
I like
god,
the
the
vineyards.
vineyards.
Real wine
Oh,
tasting.
it would be wasted on me. I'm pretty much just a Riesling kind of gal. My husband would be much better at that kind of thing. He's got, the nose that he should have been a perfumer, because his nose is just so fantastic. But yeah, wine tasting in the UK would probably be wasted on me. I'd probably be like, yeah, that's good. That's not so good. I wouldn't probably be able to give you much more than that.
Uh,
Whereas Trevor would be like, oh, it's got an it's got this like really undertone.
oh, you don't have
I do.
you have a crappy palate.
That, and I'm a cheap drunk, so I probably wouldn't get very far in the wine tasting. We actually did a wine tasting in New Zealand, and of course, like, it started at 9 in the morning. We'd gotten in maybe 9 in the morning.
Nine in the
I know,
morning wine
and
tasting.
we'd gotten in at like midnight the night before, and like the 24-hour flight, right? So like we were out of our minds. And so we go on this like wine tour.
Oh
It's
shit.
just the two of us. And so the tour guide's like, oh, it's just the two of you. We'll go to like all these extra wineries. I'm like, oh my God. And I didn't even really drink wine at the time. And so, by like the third
Mm,
vineyard, they're giving you like 3, 4, 5 servings each because there's only two of us.
it's
Yeah.
like an
And I'm
ounce,
just like,
right?
oh man, I am done. And so, like, I remember taking a picture of like a little dead bird at this vineyard. I'm like, and Trevor and I laughing because we thought he was just drunk, but he was dead. But like, we were so hammered that we just like
Oh shit.
out of it, so out of it. It's hilarious. It's totally worth it though.
New Zealand is like they have like the worst accent. I
I
don't
don't
like
know.
New Zealand
It
accents.
wasn't too bad. Like, I mean, to be fair, it's better than like some of the UK and Scottish accents that are just like super
Australia,
hard.
Irish.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, we did okay. And I'm one of those people that if you talk with an accent long enough, I usually pick it up without knowing that I'm picking it up. So it's kind of like, I swear I'm not making fun of you. I'm so
Mm.
sorry. It's an echolalia kind of thing where I emulate your accent without realizing I'm doing it.
Well, I mean, I think it's natural in humans. We have that
Yeah.
what's it called? Mirror neurons.
And you're trying to make a connection, right? Like
So,
everybody's always
mhm,
trying to make a connection. And
mhm.
yeah,
So it's just
yeah.
natural.
It just,
Yeah.
when people call me out on it, I'm like, oh, sorry. That was my bad. Like,
I mean, and then you have that Canadian
oh, sorry.
sorry,
Sorry, guy.
a boot.
It's a boot. It's not a boot. We put it on because you guys think it's funny. So
A
we put
boot.
it on. Oh, sorry, eh? Like, just, you know, we kind of, you can kind of put it on a little extra. I'm sure as like a Texas drawl, like I'm sure you can put that on if you really wanted to, but probably not how most people talk.
Nah, I
No,
don't
you
really
don't.
have an accent.
Yeah.
I just have
We'll just,
American
we call it
American
Merca.
accent.
Merca.
Merca.
Merkin.
But is there any last thing you'd like to share with whoever's listening out there that you want to resonate with them?
Just be you. Be you. Be weird. Be out there and sign yourself up for the things that scare you because really, how else are you going to learn what you like if you don't try it and see what scares you? So just trust your gut and follow it and see where it leads you because it can lead you in all sorts of weird and wonderful places.
Jenn Johnson, thank you for coming on. Is there anything you'd like to plug before we close out?
So Nursing Intuition is coming out in October. It's available for pre-sale on Amazon currently. I also have a couple of journals up on Etsy at The Intuitive Nurse. Other than that, if you want to come hang out on Instagram or TikTok at ernurse.jenn with 2 N's. If not, no worries. But just looking to support your nurses and show them you love them.
Go support her. Thank you again.
Anytime.
Peace.